Hello one and all. It's Matthew Harvey here, and I'm back from my trip to Spain, which was absolutely amazing. I'm not going to talk for very long. I'm just got back last night. I'm very tired, but just wanted to say I've had a wonderful trip, and thank you so much to everybody that helped organize it, and to the people I met there, and all the writers and readers and editors and the organizers of the events. It was a brilliant trip, wonderful trip. My wife and I had a wonderful time, and it's the first time I've done any sort of book tour like that, and I felt incredibly lucky and felt well looked after at every stage, and couldn't have come back happier, really. It's been a fantastic time. So it was tiring because I had to speak in Spanish all the time, and I'm not used to that now after living in the UK so long. And even my wife, who is Spanish, was getting tired because she's not used to speaking Spanish all the time. But we both just had a wonderful time. We met so many brilliant people, and I'll try to name just a few and just to give a very quick summary of what we do. And if I miss people's names off, I apologize. But we did meet so many people. Look, this is where we went in Úbeda, in the south of Spain. It was the Certamen Internacional de la Novela Histórica de Ciudad de Úbeda, which is in Jaén, and that's where we went for Friday, Saturday and Sunday. We were there, and it's an amazing event. So if you live in Spain or you get the chance to go to Spain, they do it annually, this around the end of October, the end of October. It's brilliant. So there's loads of big name, mainly Spanish writers, so Spanish language writers, but I was there too, and my book's now being translated into Spanish. But they do reenactments as well in the streets, and there's a real buzz in the town, and it's the whole city is a UNESCO historical I can't remember what they call it, heritage site. I was thinking in Spanish then. I've switched into Spanish mode now. It's difficult to switch back, and it's like, it's a UNESCO heritage site. It's full of history and historical buildings. You can do guided tours and walking around the city.
¡Silencio! Cristianos de Rouen, hijos de la verdadera Iglesia, hoy la providencia nos concede un ejemplo terrible, aunque necesario. ¡Asesino! ¡He aquí, ante todos vosotros, a Juana de Arco, la doncella que osó vestirse como hombre, que se atrevió a poner su voluntad por encima de la voluntad de Dios! ¡En nombre del Padre, del Hijo y del Espíritu Santo!
the perfume of olives and olive oil permeates everything. The area of Jaén generates a third of the world's olive oil production, and there are just olive groves for as far as the eye can see from the walls of the city. Hello, Matthew Harvey here, and I'm in Úbeda in the province of Jaén, where I've just been to the Certamen Internacional de la Novela Histórica, which is an international book festival for historical fiction. And it's an amazing place and an amazing weekend. They do it every year. It's an annual festival, and you can see behind, it's a historic city, and I'll post some photos of the city itself and some videos and things. But in the area we're in Jaén, it's I think there's something like 60 million olive trees. The whole place smells of olives. The olive oil is incredible, and it produces in this region a third of the world's olive oil production. So pretty incredible. It's absolutely stunning place, and the people were fantastic, and the organizers were lovely. Everybody that we met there was wonderful. We had a absolutely brilliant time. And so just to name some of the writers and people that we spoke to, of course, the organizers. So Pablo, thank you so much for inviting us, and Eva, one of the bloggers who does their podcast as well with them, and Pedro Pablo, and I'm trying to think of all the names of the people that are on the podcast. Oh, and David Iagüe, who's a writer and a journalist as well. And if I've missed anybody off of that podcast, I'm sorry. The podcast is actually called the Certamen Internacional de Novela Histórica, and if you speak Spanish, I definitely recommend it if you're into historical fiction. Writers that we met there, we met Francine. I'm just looking at the program because I can't remember all the people, so I'm just very quickly going through it. Francine Zapater, and she was absolutely lovely, one of the first people we met there. There's other writers that I'm not going to mention by name because we may have met them in passing, but we didn't spend a lot of time with them, but they were all fantastic. Teo Palacios was just great, and he's just won a prize for his new book, La Canción de Hans, which is all about pirates and Blackbeard. And he was just a lovely, lovely guy, published by the same publisher as me in Spanish, Editorial Edasa. And he was presenting his own book on the Friday. And then when I spoke on the Saturday, I was supposed to be being presented by Penelope Acero, who's our editor. And massive thank you to Penelope for organising it for us to go. Really, really appreciate it. And, you know, she was just wonderful at every stage of the organisation beforehand, and then at the event, she was the life and soul of the party. She was really fun to be with. But she had a family tragedy happen, and she had to leave quickly. And, you know, very graciously, she asked if I would be okay instead of her presenting me for the talk, which we talked about, that Teo Palacios would do it instead. And he stepped in at the last moment without having time really to prepare, and you know, it's quite daunting to do something like that. And so that was wonderful. He did a great job, and you know, he was lovely, and so we had a really good time. And luckily as well, we got to see Penelope later. She came back. Her family lived nearby, so she could go and see her family and then return. The rest of the weekend, we met Rodrigo Costoya and his lovely wife. He's just published a book called El Siglo del Milagro with a different publisher. And he was just lovely, and they were great. I mean, the couple were wonderful. And he also organises events at where he comes from, which is where he lives in Santiago de Compostela. Up in the north of Spain, in Galicia. And his book is all about the 100 years of when Santiago de Compostela became this sacred site, and how it led to becoming this sacred site that people will travel hundreds of miles to walk to on pilgrimage. It sounds brilliant, and I bought a copy because it sounded wonderful. More people that we met and spent time with. I'm just going through the list here. We said hello to Carlos Serrano quickly at one point, and spent a lot of time with Jose Zoilo. Jose Zoilo is a lovely guy from Tenerife, published again with Edasa, with the same publisher, and he does historical fiction of the same sort of fiction that I write. His favourite writer is Bernard Cornwell. He writes blood and guts action, Dark Ages stuff. And his latest book is called Hijos de la Luna, which is set something like 1,500 years before Christ, and it's about some archaeology. It's based around some archaeological finds in Spain of a type of people that lived in Spain all that time ago that they don't know much about. And I think it's probably similar to Bernard Cornwell's Stonehenge novel, that he's created a whole fictional series of events based on the historical record that we have from the archaeology. Absolutely great guy. Really, really love spending time with him. Big shout out to Maria Reich and her wonderful husband, Guillermo. We spent quite a bit of time with them. She was bringing out, or she just was talking about her new book, Sonó un violín en París. And they were both lovely, so we loved spending time with them. Espido Freire was there. Didn't get to spend a lot of time with her, but we did say hello, and she seemed wonderful. Trying to think of other names as well. We spent some time with, if you're watching this, you don't know these people, you can zone out, but I wanted to just mention them. I'm just trying to think of the other names. Daniel Fernandez de Lis is another writer. There's other writers that I did meet, and I'm just blanking on names at the moment. Just so many people that we met. I've mentioned Penelope already. After this event, which we spent those 3 days in, and it was fantastic. We then travelled to Madrid to another event called Getafe Negro, to a town just south of Madrid called Getafe, and there I have to say thank you to the organisers of that, to Maika Rivera, who was the journalist who interviewed me on stage there in Getafe, and that was a brilliant event. And there was a group of Viking reenactors called Ulf Clan from Spain, and they were doing some reenactments beforehand with some fights and stuff, and that was great. And another Edasa published writer came to see us there and met us, a guy called Victor Fernandez Correas. I have to think of all these names, remember all these names. And Victor is a lovely guy, and he came to see us and met us and went for a drink with him afterwards. We also met with another writer there called Susana Rodriguez that we really liked as well. Just give her a shout out. And you get the idea, we met a lot of people and a lot of writers. And Victor was lovely. And the next day I had another presentation in the British Council where Victor did the presentation. So he was there interviewing me on stage or whatever in front of the people there. And that was another, great event. And several people came that had read the books or heard of the books from, one guy came and said that he's read all the books in English and that he loved listening to the podcast. So thank you very much to him. That was great. I met with a work colleague that I hadn't seen for 25 years, came to the talk, which was incredible. It was lovely. Just all in all, a fantastic trip. Very, very tiring, as I say, because there was a lot of talking, a lot of thinking, a lot of having to speak in what is my second language. But I really, really enjoyed it. Just thoroughly recommend going to these festivals. And it seems like in Spain, there's a real buzz around historical fiction, which for someone in the UK who spends all their time, in their office here writing books and very little time out talking to people about their books, because there don't seem to be that many events here. So we do talk about them on the podcast, but it seems much less extensive, the amount of support there is publicly for it. And the other thing I haven't mentioned is that both of these events, the one in Úbeda and the one in Getafe, were free to the public. So anyone could come and walk in and listen to these writers or see these reenactments for free in the town, in these amazing historical places in Úbeda and really nice public places in Getafe. So it was just a fantastic thing. I'd just like to say that the talk I did the second day in Getafe, for the Getafe Negro thing, was in partnership with the British Council. So it's in the British Council building in the centre of Madrid. And thank you to the British Council as well. So big thanks to everybody. And, I really, really enjoyed it. And if you get a chance to ever go to an event like this and meet an author and talk to an author, I can't tell you how much all the authors loved the moments when we were in Úbeda especially, and it was a warm, sunny time, and we were sitting outside. There were lots of bars, and in between talks we might be sitting having a drink, and readers would come up and say, "Oh, are you Teo Palacios? I've got your book here. Could you sign my book?" And I can't tell you how happy that makes writers. So if you ever get the chance to go up to a writer and tell them you've recognized them and you want them to sign your book, or even just to say you've read their book and you like their books, just do it, because it will put a massive smile on their face and they'll love it, and hopefully you'll go away pleased as well. So, desde el corazón, muchísimas gracias a todo el mundo de Úbeda y por la organización, y Getafe Negro también. Gracias a todos. Un beso grande a todos los autores que hemos conocido. Si se me ha olvidado decir tu nombre, no es porque no os he querido mencionar, es porque se me ha olvidado, lo siento. Había tanta gente que tenía que mencionar que se me ha olvidado algunos. Y quizás debería haber hecho una lista primero antes de hablar. But anyway, thank you to everybody. Muchísimas gracias, and see you again soon, hopefully. Hasta luego. Adiós. Bye.